I signed the prenup with a smile, thinking it was just my finance bro husband's way of protecting his tech startup fortune from my artistic whims. Little did I know, it was the noose I'd later tighten around his family's necks. And when I woke up in a hospital bed, accused of crashing my own car into a tree while drunk, a crash that killed my unborn child, I realized the real accident was marrying into the Harrington dynasty. That morning in the ER, the cops were already there, badges glinting under the fluorescent lights like accusations. My wrists itched from the cuffs they'd slapped on before the morphine kicked in fully. Violet Ellis Harrington, the detective drawled, his southern twang out of place in this sterile New York hellhole. You've got a blood alcohol level that'd drop a horse. And your taillights were out. Reckless endangerment. Manslaughter if the babies ruled viable. Viable. The words sliced through the fog. Our baby's 6 months along. A girl we'd named Lila was gone. Miscarried on impact. And I didn't drink. Not a drop, since the positive test. I tried to speak, but my throat was raw from the intubation tube they'd yanked out hours ago. Instead, I croaked. Framed. The detective chuckled, like it was the oldest excuse in the book. My husband, Ethan, hovered in the doorway, his Armani suit rumpled, eyes red but distant. Babe, what happened? You were supposed to be at yoga. Yoga. The lie burned. I'd been at the doctor's, confirming Lila's heartbeat for the 20th time that week because Ethan's mom, Regina Harrington, the iron-fisted matriarch of Harrington Ventures, had been whispering doubts about my fitness to carry the Harrington heir. Regina. God. Where to start with her? She wasn't just Ethan's mother. She was the queen bee of Manhattan's venture capital scene. A woman who'd clawed her way from a trailer park in Ohio to penthouses on Billionaires Row by marrying old money and burying newer skeletons. At 62, she still turned heads with her Botox-smooth skin and Chanel armor. But her eyes, cold, calculating gray, betrayed the predator beneath. She'd hated me from day one. An artist? She'd sneered at our engagement party, swirling her $500 scotch. Ethan needs a partner, not a hobbyist. I painted abstracts in our Brooklyn loft, sold enough to cover rent. But to Regina, I was the gold-digging interloper threatening her empire. The betrayal started small. Whispers at family dinners about my erratic moods. Then the anonymous emails to Ethan. Screenshots of me at bars, photoshopped. I'd later learn. Claims I'd blown our joint savings on supplies. But the crash? That was her masterpiece. I remembered driving home from the appointment, humming to Lila about her future, ballet lessons in Central Park, Storytime in the Met's rooftop garden. Then, a jolt. The wheel yanking right, tires screeching on wet asphalt. Blackness. In the hospital, Ethan believed the cops. Or pretended to. We'll get you the best lawyer. Vi. But. The board's panicking. Investors are pulling out if this hits the news. The board. Harrington Ventures. The AI startup Ethan co-founded with his sister. Lila, no relation to our baby. But the irony stung. Valued at $2 billion. Regina controlled it all from the shadows, pulling strings like a puppeteer on Wall Street. If I went down for DUI manslaughter, it'd tank the IPO. And me? I'd lose everything. Freedom. Reputation. The life we'd built. Discharged after 48 hours with a monitor on my ankle, I limped into our loft, Ethan trailing like a ghost. He wouldn't touch me. I need space. Vi. This. It's too much. Space. After 5 years of marriage, 2 of trying for Lila. I nodded, biting back the scream. Alone. I scrolled the news on my phone. Heiress in waiting in deadly crash. Harrington family shocker. Photos of the wreck. My Prius accordioned against an oak in Prospect Park, splashed across Timsey. Page 6. Regina's doing. No doubt, she had publicists on speed dial. That's when I found it. Tucked in the back of our filing cabinet. Behind tax returns, the full prenup. Not the sanitized version I'd skimmed with our lawyer. This one had clauses buried in legalese thicker than Regina's grudges. Page 17. Section 4B. In event of criminal accusation against spouse B, Violet Ellis, resulting from actions attributable to spouse A, Ethan Harrington, or immediate family, all marital assets revert to spouse B, with divestment of family holdings from marital estate. Attributable. My hands shook as I read on. It detailed contingencies for fraud, sabotage, even undue influence by maternal figures. Ethan had known. He'd built this bomb and handed me the detonator.
But why?
The hook caught deeper that night when I hacked into the loft's smart home logs. I'm no tech whiz. But desperation breeds hackers. The camera feed from the garage, 7:42 p.m. Me pulling in. Then, a shadow, slight, hooded, tampering with the brakes. The face blurred. But the gate? Regina's assistant.
Marco.
The weasel who'd accidentally spilled wine on my ultrasound printouts at Thanksgiving. Rage settled like frost. This wasn't just about hating me, it was about control. Regina wanted Ethan back under her thumb, unencumbered by a damaged wife. And the baby? Collateral. A Harrington couldn't be raised by a convict. I poured a glass of water, mocking the DUI lie, and plotted. Revenge wasn't a phase, it was my new religion. The next weeks blurred into a tense standoff. Ethan moved to the guest room, citing boundaries. Regina called daily, her voice syrup over venom. Darling, let's settle this quietly. A plea deal. Perhaps the family can help. Help. Like she'd helped by leaking my confession to the DA, fabricated tears over postpartum regret, even though Lila never breathed air. I played along, the dutiful daughter-in-law, while digging. My first controversial decision came fast. I hired a PI. Off books. Cash from my gallery sales. No ethics. Just results. Carl was a grizzled ex-cop from Queens. The kind who knew every dirty bar and dirtier secret in the 5 boroughs. Harringtons, he grunted over diner coffee. Regina's got bodies in her basement. Metaphorical-like. Started with her first husband, overdosed on pills she found after he threatened divorce. Pills. My mind flashed to Ethan's late nights. The Ambien bottles piling up. Carl slid a dossier across the Formica. Emails from Regina to Marco. Timestamps matching the crash. Brake fluid drain. Clean. Professional. Cost her $5,000. But the real secret? Buried deeper. Regina hadn't just targeted me. She'd orchestrated the whole marriage. Ethan met me at an art opening, staged. She paid my ex-landlord to evict me, forcing the move to Brooklyn where Ethan rescued me with a sublet.
Why?
Leverage. Harrington Ventures was bleeding. Regina needed Ethan's focus razor-sharp for the IPO. A wife was a distraction, unless she was controllable. When I got pregnant, proving independent, the gloves came off. I bore her sins that night in the loft, staring at the ceiling as sirens wailed outside. The crime, not just the crash, but the cover-up. Regina had swapped evidence, my water bottle laced with vodka from her private stock, planted in the car. I'd taken the fall for her ambition, her fear of losing the throne. And Ethan? Complicit? Or blind? The dossier hinted at wire transfers, $50,000 from family accounts to charity, Regina's slush fund for silencing witnesses. Decision time. Controversial as hell. I slept with Carl. Not for info he'd already delivered, but to feel something besides numbness. In his dingy walk-up, tattoos snaking across his chest like Brooklyn bridges, I reclaimed my body. "You're playing with fire." "Vi," he murmured after. Cigarette smoke curling. "Harringtons don't lose, they bury." I laughed. Bitter. Then let's dig. By month 2, the ankle monitor chafed like Regina's lies. Court dates loomed. The DA offered 18 months if I pled out. Ethan visited once. Suit pristine. Eyes hollow. "Sign the divorce papers."
Vi.
"It's cleaner."
Cleaner.
"For who?" I slid the full prenup across the table at Le Bernardine. "Our reconciliation lunch." "Read section 4B. Love." His fork clattered. Color drained from his face faster than Regina's Botox budget. "Where did you?" "Doesn't matter." I leaned in, voice low. "You knew she'd come for me. Built this trap for her. But you let her pull the pin." He stammered, "Love. Pressure. Board votes." But I saw the truth. He'd married me as bait. A sacrificial lamb to appease mommy dearest until the IPO cleared. The betrayal cut deepest there. In the crystal clink of water glasses, waiters gliding like oblivious ghosts. That night, I made the call. Controversial? Hell yes. Impersonating a cop to access Regina's medical records. Carl's old badge.
A favor.
What I found, not cancer, as she'd claimed to garner sympathy, but elective surgeries to preserve youth while siphoning company funds. $2 million in wellness expenses.
Fraud.
The kind that'd unravel Harrington Ventures like a cheap sweater. The tension built like a summer storm over the Hudson. Regina escalated, private investigators on my tail. Concerned calls to my gallery rep, painting me as unstable. Ethan ghosted. Hold up in the Hamptons working. I countered quietly. Anonymous tips to the SEC about irregularities in Harrington's books. Whispers of insider trading. All tracing to Regina's offshore accounts. She smelled the smoke. Cornered me at a charity gala in the Guggenheim. Her diamonds flashing like warning shots. "Violet. Dear." She purred. Martini in hand. "This vendetta? It's unbecoming. Drop the charges, and we'll make it go away." Her breath reeked of gin and entitlement. I smiled, clinking my soda water against her glass. "Like you made the baby go away?" Her eyes flickered. First crack in the armor. "Accidents happen. But ruin us. And you ruin Ethan."
Ruin.
The word hung. My second big decision. Leak the break footage to a tabloid stringer. Blurred.
Visceral.
But timed for maximum splash. Next morning. Headline screamed. Harrington crash. Sabotage suspected? The stock dipped 8%. Regina's fortress trembled. But the real war was personal. I drove to her Upper East Side townhouse, uninvited, ankle monitor beeping defiance, and waited in the rain. When she emerged, Vuitton umbrella shielding her perm, I stepped out. "We need to talk, Mother." She froze, then sneered. "Security." But I held up my phone. Audio of her confession. Baited from a reconciliation call Carl rigged. The fluid was low.
Darling.
You should have checked. Her face twisted, ugly under the makeup. You think you're clever? I built this family. You're nothing. Nothing. The word echoed the trailer park girl she'd buried. But I saw it then, the secret she'd hidden for decades. Not just greed, guilt. Ethan's father hadn't died in a boating accident. She'd dosed a scotch. Staged the drowning when he discovered her embezzlement. I'd borne her original sin. The crasha echo of that murder. Inside her marble foyer. Guards dismissed. We dueled with words. Sign over your shares. Regina. Or the tape goes to the NYPD. She laughed. Pouring brandy. And implicate my son?
He knew about Daddy.
Held the oars. Twist one. Ethan wasn't blind. He was bloodied. The reversal hit like whiplash. My husband, complicit in patricide cover-up, marrying me to launder the guilt. She lunged then, not violent, but desperate, grabbing for the phone. I sidestepped. Heart pounding. The prenup. Regina. Ethan's gift to me. All assets mine if fraud's proven. You'll be penniless. Scraping Ohio dirt again. Her eyes widened. The queen dethroned in her own hall of mirrors. The climax unfolded in boardroom 42 of Harrington Tower. Glass walls framing the Empire State like a conquered foe. IPO eve. Investors buzzing. Ethan at the head. Regina to his right. Me invited as reconciliation prop. I waited for the pitch. AI ethics spiel. All shine, no substance, then rose. Before we proceed, a disclosure. Slides clicked. Break logs. Wire transfers. The patricide autopsy. Regina, thought buried. Gasps rippled. Ethan's face ashen.
Vi.
What? Truth time. I hit play. Regina's voice. Tinny but damning. The room erupted, suits bolting. Phones dialing lawyers. Regina shrieked. Lies. She's deranged. But the prenup unrolled on the projector. Clauses glowing like verdicts. Assets frozen. Family holdings divested. Ethan. Inheritor of nothing but debt. As security dragged her out, cuffs clicking like karma, she spat. You'll regret this. Violet. Blood's thicker.
But blood?
Mine mingled with Lila's on that asphalt. Thicker than ink on a contract. The aftermath? Debatable victory. Ethan begged therapy. Second chances, but I walked. Loft sold. Paintings shipped to a new life in LA.
Regina?
Indicted. Assets seized. Penniless in a Rikers cell block. Trading Chanel for orange. Happy ending? For some.
Me?
I paint darker now, shadows of swapped fates. Crimes born in silence. Was revenge justice? Or just another cage?
You tell me.
The cab ride from Harrington Tower to JFK felt like exhaling after drowning. Rain slicked the streets. Neon blurring into watercolor streaks, my medium. Once joy. Now weapon. I booked the red-eye to LAX on a burner app. No checked bags. Just a duffel with canvases and the one photo of Lila's ultrasound. Creased but sacred. Ethan texted nonstop. We can fix this. I love you.
Love.
The word curdled like milk left in the sun. Last message before takeoff. A voice note. His voice cracking. The boat. Dad was suffering. Mom said it was mercy. I was 19.
Vi.
Forgive me. Mercy. For poisoning a man over ledgers? I deleted it mid-flight. turbulence mirroring the knot in my gut. LA welcomed me with smog-kissed palms and a sublet in Silver Lake, $2, $800 a month for 600 square feet. View of Griffith Observatory like a distant god watching my unraveling. The gallery scene here was hungrier, edgier. My first show. Fractured heirlooms, sold out in 48 hours. Abstracts of shattered glass. Crimson veins, critics called it visceral catharsis. Buyers whispered about the Harrington scandal, eyes hungry for scandal's residue. Money flowed. Enough to hire a therapist who didn't flinch at my rants about swap sins. But peace? Elusive. Regina's trial loomed like a guillotine, set for federal court in Manhattan. Subpoenas arrived via courier, gold embossed like party invites. Material witness, they called me. Ethan.
2.
Cut a deal, immunity for testimony. The golden boy spared the blade. Betrayals aftertaste. He'd thrown her to wolves to save his skin. But not before wiring me a settlement. $10 million. Prenup payout minus legal carve-outs. Penniless? She'd clawed back enough for a Park Avenue lawyer. Silver-tongued fox named Harlan Voss, who painted her as the victim, bereaved widow, overprotective mom, framed by a vengeful artist with delusions. Delusions. The word ignited nightmares. I'd wake sweating, convinced the crash replayed, brakes failing, Lila's kick fading. Carl called from Brooklyn, voice gravel over static. She's spinning it.
Vi.
Jury sympathy play, tearful monologues about losing her husband to illness, her daughter-in-law to resentment. Daughter-in-law. Not wife anymore. Divorce finalized in absentia. Ethan signing away rights to Lila's memory with a notary's stamp. Controversial choice 3. I flew back. Not for justice, for closure. Landed at LaGuardia. Autumn chill biting like Regina's smile. Carl met me curbside, his truck reeking of takeout and gun oil. You sure? Voss is shark-infested. I nodded, staring at the skyline. Swim time. The courthouse on Foley Square buzzed like a hive, reporters swarming. Satellite trucks idling. Inside, the air hummed with AC and anxiety. I took the stand day 3. After Ethan's whimpering testimony, Mom was stressed. The company. I didn't know about the breaks. Liar. The prenup proved he anticipated sabotage. My turn. Oath sworn. Harlan cross-examining first. His drawl honeyed poison. Mrs. Harrington, or should I say MS. Ellis, you claim my client orchestrated vehicular homicide. Motive? I met his eyes. Steel on silk.
Control.
Lila, the baby, was mine and Ethan's. Independent. Threat to her dynasty. Murmurs rippled. He pressed. And the evidence? Doctored footage. Anonymous tips. Sounds like obsession. Obsession. The gallery sales. The LA glow-up? Facade for a woman piecing herself from shards. Then Regina's turn on the stand. Post-lunch recess. She glided in. Pantsuit tailored to penitence. No jewelry but a cross necklace, new prop. Evoking Midwestern piety. Your Honor. Violet was troubled. Post-accident paranoia. I loved her like a daughter.
Loved.
The lie hung. Jury of 12, 6 women. Eyes narrowing, leaning in. She spun the yarn. Ethan's mercy for his father, a family secret born of love. The crash, a tragic mishap. My leaks, a bid for fame. She profited. Your Honor. Millions from our pain. The twist she'd buried, her own swapped fate. Flashback testimony. Her first husband. Not old money, but a mechanic from Cleveland, beaten to death in '88 for talking back. She'd claimed self-defense. Walked free on a technicality. Birthing the Harrington reinvention. I'd born that ghost crime. Her pattern of eliminating threats. Pinning on the vulnerable.
Me.
The artist with no alibi but love. My redirect, the prosecutor. A bulldog named Ruiz. Played the audio. Regina's voice. Crisp. Ethan. It was quick for Daddy. Like, it'll be for her if you don't step up.
Gasps.
Jury forewoman. A black nurse from the Bronx. Scribbled furiously. Harlan objected, coerced. Context but the seed rooted. That night. Holed up in Carl's. I broke. Not tears, rage. Smashed a lamp. Shards glittering like Regina's lies. Carl pulled me close. His hands rough anchors. You're winning.
Vi.
But at what cost?
Cost.
The baby. The marriage. The girl who trusted. We'd slept together twice more. Post-trial prep. His body a battlefield, I claimed. Controversial? In the Me Too era. Power dynamics screamed red flags. But grief doesn't read manifestos, it devours. Day 5 verdict. Guilty on all counts: fraud, tampering, manslaughter, accessory. Regina's scream echoed marble halls as bailiffs cuffed her. The cross snapping free. Ethan, in the gallery, met my gaze pleading. Broken. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
For the boat. The brakes. The blindness? I walked past. Heels clicking finality. Back in LA. The high crashed. Gallery buzz faded. Buyers sensed the darkness in my strokes. A new secret unearthed via Carl's final dossier. Ethan's side hustle, diverting IPO funds to a Cayman slush. Regina's blueprint. He'd played us both. Prenup a feint to bankrupt mom while keeping the lion's share. Reversal 2. I wasn't the victim. I was the mark in their chess game. Decision 4. Darkest yet anonymous SEC tip. Prenup clauses attached. Ethan's arrest hit Variety at dawn. Tech heir and embezzlement bust. Penniless now. Both of them.
But me?
Hollow victory. I stood on Runyon Canyon at sunset. City sprawl below like a healed scar. Wondering if revenge birthed justice or just orphans. Sunset in LA painted the hills gold. But my shadows stretched long. Runyon's trails were packed with influencers snapping selfies. Their laughter a mockery of my silence. I descended to the sublet. Phone vibrating. Unknown number. Violet Ellis? Harlan Voss. Regina wants a meeting.
Voss.
The snake. Post-verdict. Peddling appeals. Tellerhell's booked.
Click.
But sleep evaded. Dreams splicing Regina's courtroom wail with Lila's phantom cry. The swap haunted me, not bodies,
but lives.
Regina's Ohio roots mirrored my own. Trailer trash turned tiger. But she devoured her tail to rise. I'd borne her mistakes, the crash echoing her husband's accident, the fraud my framed theft. In therapy, Dr. Lena, a sharp Chicana with zero bullshit, probed. Revenge as reparenting? You're punishing her for your mother's absence. Mom, dead at 40 from bad pills, left me foster hopping till art school. Absent. Like Ethan now. Radio silent since cuffs. Controversial pivot. I reached out. Not to him, to Lila, Ethan's sister. The ghost in the machine. Co-founder of Harrington Ventures. She'd stayed stateside. grieving the empire's fall. Instagram polished, yoga poses, vineyard toasts. But Carl's digs revealed cracks, addiction whispers, rehabs hushed with NDAs. I DM'd, we need to talk. About the boat. No reply for weeks. Then a cafe meet in WeHo. Neutral ground. She arrived late. Blonde Bob Severe. Eyes Ethan's blue but fractured. What do you want? Violet? Blood money. Coffee steamed between us. $7 lattes for old wounds. I slid a USB. Audio of Regina admitting Lila's complicity. You held the wheel steady.
Pedal.
While I poured. Lila blanched, stirring sugar like poison.
Lies.
I was 16.
16.
Old enough for secrets. The betrayal aired. She'd envied me. The outsider who birthed the heir. While she slaved in code. Mom said you'd ruin us, she hissed. The baby was leverage. Ethan's focus splintered. Leverage. Lila the coder. Hacking my phone post-crash. Planting drunk texts to Ethan. I'd borne her digital crime. The swapped evidence pinning manslaughter on my sobriety. We dueled over pastries, her defending the family code, me exposing the rot. Twist 3. Lila wasn't pawn. She was queenmaker. Post-ad. She'd forged the ledgers. Siphoning for her startups. Regina took the fall to protect the daughter. The real Harrington. You think Ethan's a snake? He's the head we cut to save the body. Reversal. The prenup? Lila's idea. Slipped to Ethan to divest Mom. Leaving her clean. I left with a bargain. Her testimony against Ethan's fresh charges. In exchange for silence on her hacks. Controversial? Blackmail's gray and grief's fog. She agreed. Eyes wet. You're more Harrington than you know.
Vi.
Ruthless. Back home. The sublet felt tomb-like. I painted through nights, swapped thrones, Regina's silhouette morphing into mine. Crowns of thorns. Sales spiked. A collector from MoMA circled. Sensing the pulse. But tension coiled. Boss's calls escalated. Veiled threats. Client's health declining. Your conscience. Conscience. The word mocked as I ignored Carl's voicemails. Our thing fizzled. Distance bred doubt. Come back.
Vi.
Brooklyn misses you. Miss the fire. Or the fighter. Decision 5. Visit Rikers. Not compassion, catharsis. Processed through metal detectors. The van ride to the island a limbo of barbed wire and Hudson Gray. Regina in visitor's glass. Orange jumpsuit clashing her pallor. Hair limp sand stylist. You came. Voice raspy. Stripped of command. To see the queen fall. I pressed the glass. Fogging it. She leaned in. Breath fogging back. We swapped places. Didn't we? You. The innocent artist, me. The monster. But monsters birth them. Her eyes. Once gray ice. Now muddy regret. The secret's core. She'd borne her own swap sin, killing her first husband not for money, but to escape abuse. Pinning it on a burglar frame. Justice then? Vigilante.
Now.
Karma's echo. You took my daughter, I whispered. She flinched. Lila was never yours. Harrington blood only flows pure.
Pure.
The lie cracked as she confessed. The crash targeted. But the baby? Unintended. I aimed to scare. Not kill.
Break tap.
Not drain. Marco botched.
Botched.
Reversal 4. Incompetence. Not malice. Human error in hell's design. I left her weeping, the van rumbling back to freedom. But freedom? Chained to what-ifs. That night. Lila's email. Testimony given. Ethan's done. But watch your back. Voss plays dirty.
Dirty.
The tension peaked when my gallery alarm tripped. 2 a.m. Shadow fleeing with sketches. Stalker? Or warning? Climax brewed in a WeHo loft party. Collectors swirling like sharks. Voss cornered me by the charcuterie. Bowtie askew. Drop the appeals resistance. MS. Ellis. Or your swapped thrones gets. Reinterpreted. Interpreted. Forged nudes. Career suicide. I laughed. Champagne flute steady. Try it. Prenup's got defamation clauses too. He smirked. Family's not done. But as sirens wailed distant, his phone buzzing arrest warrant, I realized the arc's bend. Revenge's end is isolation. Ethan indicted. Regina rotting. Lila ghosting.
Me?
Penniless in spirit. Rich in scars. The loft party dissolved into chaos post-Voss, cops hauling him for extortion. Champagne spilling like bloodless victory. Collectors buzzed. One silver-haired mogul pressing his card. Your darkness sells. Violet. Ever think biopic? Biopic. My life as Netflix fodder. Crash scenes dramatized sans gore. I pocketed it. Fleeing to the balcony. City lights mocking my vertigo. Dawn brought clarity's cruel edge. Lila's follow-up text. Ethan's suicide watch. Blames you.
Blames.
The word lodged like shrapnel. I drove Griffith Park Loop. Radio blasting NPR on white-collar falls. Harrington echoes everywhere. Pulled over. At a vista. Vomited bile and regret. Had I swapped their ruin for mine? Therapy with Lena. Empathy's not weakness. Violet. It's the line between avenger and villain.
Villain.
Regina's mirror. Controversial 6. I visited Ethan. Not Rikers, Bellevue. Psych ward overlooking East River. Sign-in sheet shook in my hand. Nurses eyeing the ex-wife like a grenade. He was medicated haze. Gown loose on frame thinned by jail slop.
Vi.
Whisper. Eyes lighting fragile. You came. Chairs scraped sterile tile. For answers. He nodded. For drip, beeping time. The confession spilled. Prenup his atonement. Drafted post Regina's hints at sabotage. I knew she'd target you after the baby news. Wanted protection for us.
Us.
Lie or love. He admitted the boat. Holding oars at 19. Seasick with guilt. Dad begged.
Vi. Cancer lies.
But pain real.
Mom.
Mercy turned monster.
Mercy.
The swapped narrative. Villain to victim. I'd borne his family's original crime. The cover-up chaining generations. Why marry me? I pressed. Tears tracked to stubble. To break free. You were light. But I dimmed it.
Dimmed.
Lila's hacks. His silence. Betrayals layered like lacquer. Decision. Forgive?
No. Release.
Heal.
Ethan.
But we're ghosts. I left him sobbing. Ward doors sealing like tombs. Outside. Rain slicked FDR Drive. Cabs honked freedom. Back LA. The stalker escalated. Tires slashed. Harrington whore keyed in loft door. Police shrugged. Ex-drama? Drama. I installed cams. Carl overnighting a Glock. Protection. Not paranoia. Arm now. I painted feverishly. Penniless crowns, Regina beggared. Ethan chained. Me crowned in thorns. MoMA collector bit, 6 figures. Check cashed to a PI firm tracing the vandal. Twist 5. The shadow was Lila. Not malice, desperation. She confessed over burner call. Ethan's rotting. Mom's appeals tanked my startups. Creditors circling. Circling. She'd hacked my alarms for entry. Not harm, to beg alliance. Join me.
Vi.
Rebuild ventures clean. Your art. My code, swapped strengths.
Swapped.
The offer tempted. Empire from ashes. Revenges, sequel. But secrets unburied. Her role in the crash app. Not just texts, GPS spoof to lure me to that road. I'd borne her tech terror. The digital swap of paths. No, I said. Your blood's poison. She snapped. Then you're dead to us.
Dead.
The threat hung as Voss's appeal hearing loomed, Regina gunning for mistrial on new evidence, my coerced audio. Lila's forged affidavit claiming setup. Tension throttled sleep. Carl flew in. Our reunion raw, bodies colliding in sublet sheets. His whispers grounding. Fight smart.
Vi.
Not alone. Hearing day. Foley Square sweltered June. I testified again. Lila opposite. Poised perjury. Eyes averted. Violet manipulated me. Trauma bonding. Bonding. The jury wavered. Forewoman's scribbles frantic. But Ruiz countered. Forensic audio. Lila's server logs. Cracks spidered. Climax redux. Recess brawl in hall, Lila lunging. Nails raking my arm. Bitch ruined us. Security peeled her. Blood welled. Not deep, but symbolic. No charges, my call. Controversial mercy. Back on stand. Bandaged. I face judge. They're victims of their making. But truth swaps no lies. Verdict held. Appeals crushed. Regina's wail televised. Empire dust. Lila vanished. Rumors of Vancouver reinvention. Ethan stabilized. Letters arriving. Amends. Not absolution. Penniless trio. Scattered sins. But me? The cost mounted. Galleries wary of scandal artist. Lovers fleeting. Carl proposed permanence. Brooklyn or bust.
Bust.
The debate. Rebuild solo. Or swap solitude for shared scars. July haze baked LA. Palms drooping like exhausted secrets. Carl's proposal lingered. His flight back delayed by one more case. One more. Our nights tangled, passion laced with pauses. His cop stories mirroring my vendettas. You swapped hate for hollow.
Vi.
Time to fill it.
Fill.
With what? The MoMA check bought time, a Venice studio. Ocean views mocking inland ghosts. Letters piled. Ethan's pleas evolving. Therapy breakthroughs. Lila's in hiding. Clean.
Clean.
Regina's final missive. Smuggled via guard. Daughter. Forgive the swap. I bore my mother's sins. You bore mine. Cycle ends. Cycle. The patriarchal poison. Abuse pinned on prey. I'd broken it. But shards lacerated. Controversial 7. I wrote back. Not absolution, acknowledgement. End it yourself. Paint your truth. Enclosed a brush. Bristles mocking her manicure. No reply. But whispers, prison art classes. Regina's abstracts, dark swirls. Ohio trailers reborn. The stalker saga closed anticlimactic. Lila's prince on the keying tool turned overquiet. No charges. Her Vancouver exile self-imposed. Twist 6. Cruelest. A package arrived. Lila's. Postmark Canada. Inside, my stolen sketches. Annotated. You saw us clear. Use this code for your next show. Swapped visions. Attached drive. Algorithms for interactive art. Viewers hacking canvases. Revealing hidden layers. Layers. Her redemption bid. Or manipulation. I loaded it. Screens flickering in studio dim. Ghosts emerged. Ethan's face in pixels. Regina's eyes in code. Genius. Tainted. Decision. Collaborate? Anonymously. Yes. Fractal Forgives debuted at LACMA. Crowds gasping as Taps unveiled Betrayals. Rebirths. Critics raved. Ellis redefines revenge as revelation. Sales soared. Carl beamed from opening night. Arm possessive. Proud. Killer. But the reversal ultimate. Months later. A clinic test, positive. Not Lila's echo, but new life. Conceived in Carl's rough grace. Ultrasound heartbeat thrummed.
Fierce. Joy.
Terrified. Ethan learned via tabloids. Ex-Harrington pregnant. New chapter? His congrats call. Deserve it.
Vi.
Break the cycle. Cycle. Swapped fates. His barren guilt. My fertile unknown. Regina's obituary hit in spring. Heart attack. Cell block quiet. No tears, instead. Her paintings auctioned. Proceeds to abuse survivors. Penniless to posthumous patron. Lila surfaced at the gavel drop. Art crawl in Portland. Sober eyes. Truce. Truce. We talked hours. Swapped stories sans venom. Sisters in scars. Ending? Debatable. Carl and I wed in Brooklyn brownstone. Baby bump under vows, happy. Hard one. But nights. I wake, painting shadows. Wondering, did I ruin or redeem? Justice is a mirror. Cracking under gaze. You decide. Reader. After all, in America's grind, Wall Street wolves. Hollywood veneers. Who's the monster when the swap's done?